Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad you're here. You are in the right place at the right time.
That's right, just where you are meant to be, whether you're live streaming or you're here with us in person. Can you believe it's March? Let's sing about it. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Please join me in turning around and saying good morning to those live streaming. You're in the right place at the right time. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Come on, put your hands together. You know that you're welcome. Because everybody's welcome. My soul is welcome. Yeah, 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 yeah. My soul is welcome here.
Don't you know that your soul is welcome here? My soul is welcome here. My soul, your soul is welcome here now.
My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well, you guys look really good today. Really
All
good.
right, it's true. Thank you.
Don't you think? You say it. Say it. Yes, it is true. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, this morning we want to welcome all of you sparkly souls. Welcome you to this beautiful, beautiful spiritual community that we call home, Spiritual Life Center. And we know if you are here for the first time, you are in for a treat, and you are not here by accident. You're here by divine appointment. And we're so glad you kept that appointment in this warm and loving spiritual community, this mission-centric community. And so we know you've already turned all those electronic devices off, but I have a new question for you this morning. On March 10th at 2 a.m., what will you be doing? What will your clocks be doing? You're not going to do it at 2? Well, that's officially when it happens. But
you could do it early.
you could do it early, but it just wanted to remind you. Great.
And as we do every week, we've been going over what the basic principles are, just in case somebody asks you, what does unity believe? And although there's no definitive doctrines or dogmas, these are guiding principles that really govern everything that we talk about. So there are 5 principles that we believe in. God is absolute good and everywhere present, which of course means there's no opposing power to this presence we call God. that people are inherently good because the divine is within each and every one of us. We have a spark of divinity within each and every one of us. The third principle is that our thoughts create our experiences. And as I mentioned earlier, service is not that every single thought comes in, but those that we continuously hold with energy over and over again. As somebody said, that thoughts wired together, or fired together, wired together, whatever. When you got a bunch of them, it gets really powerful.
Or confusing.
Yes. Or the fourth one is that prayer and meditation is how we connect with the presence of God. It's a creative way of thinking. And then the fifth principle is that action is needed. It's not just that we can spout off the principles, we apply them in our life. So those are the 5 basic principles of unity. And
It's March 3rd.
it's March 1st. So any birthday, March birthdays, if you would stand, we want to acknowledge you.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, happy birthday to ya.
Oh. As you know, we always acknowledge the season for nonviolence that represents the principles that were taught by Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. And the season of nonviolence takes place between the anniversaries of their deaths between January and April. And each week, in order for us to be reacquainted with what they talked about and the principles that they taught, we've been doing a reading each week to support the season for nonviolence. And so today's reader will be Claudia Norton Tolbert.
Our
She's-
own beautiful greeter.
Yes.
She's a greeter and a seeder.
Greeter Cedar.
That's right. So, today I take time to enjoy and appreciate my family. Family means different things to different people. The definition of family today is very different from years past. A family is coming together of loving people that create a cohesive unit of support and love for the common good of all. I ran up here. The word family might be used to describe any group of like-minded people, though not necessarily blood-related. Whether to me, family means my spouse, child, parent, sibling, cousin, or friend. Today, I take the time to enjoy and appreciate them. I appreciate the love and support I get from my family. When I have challenges, I count on them to hold the high watch. God created all forms of family that love might express, and it's blessed. Today and every day, I enjoy and appreciate my family. So I am now an orphan as of recent, but I still have family. I have 2 brothers and a loving and supportive husband, Dallas. I have an aunt and cousins, but the richness of my family here at SLC is priceless. I am nurtured by the love I receive here, and it makes me a stronger person, spiritually, mentally, and physically. It has for 20 years. I was so touched by all of the people that got up and spoke at my mom's memorial last month. I only asked 2 people to speak, and 13 other people got up and shared. That's family love. In 2017, before I had my 2 hip replacements, I was bone on bone for a year. Of course, I was in pain a lot. But when I came to SLC, I didn't hurt as much. So I was able to do my greeting and seating of people because that's what I love. My why for living is making people feel welcomed and included. What better place could I have that role to broaden my family here at SLC? Spiritual Life Center means a lot to me. I met my husband here 19 years ago, and he keeps me laughing all the way. I'm truly blessed. Thank you, family.
Yes.
I
You
love
fulfill
those
your
stories
purpose so well.
so
Gloria. Thank you.
beautifully.
What do we have here? Okay, just a reminder of those who may have known Carolyn Booker. She was the mother of Michael and Lisa Lawson, and also the grandmother to Cameron and Liam. Carolyn made her transition recently after a brief illness, and her service is going to be on April the 6th at 1 p.m. at the Cozumel Community Center that's located at 2201 Cottage Way and Howe Avenue. And Reverend Cherie Larkin will officiate that homecoming service for Carolyn. So I invite you to come if you'd like to support those who have been left on this side of the veil in the family, and to support Carolyn in her ongoing to her next assignment.
Yes, indeed. And so this coming Wednesday, we have our beautiful program, the Phoenix Rising Ash Wednesday service. And it is a wonderful time to celebrate the beginning of Lent and do it in a really beautiful and powerful way. We're going to release into the fire and watch the symbolic ash rise of our own being and things that we're letting go of. We will have a chance to affirm who and whose we are. And then we will walk away with that Phoenix Rising coin that reminds us every day or every touch point of who we are. So join us for that this coming Wednesday. We will have a beautiful soup dinner at 6, and then the program starts at 7, and music will be provided by Paula and Laurie, and it's surely going to be a beautiful way to enter into the Lenten season.
And also just a reminder that on Wednesday, the Wednesday morning group that is facilitated by Claire Kinsley, they're moving to a new book by Emmett Fox entitled Power Through Constructive Thinking, and is focusing on his view on the Lord's Prayer throughout the Lenten season. And Emmett Fox, as many of you know, was one of the pioneers of New Thought, and his writing has greatly influenced many other people, including the AA movement.
Yeah. And coming up on the 23rd of March, we have a brother to SLC, Krishna Guadalupe, and he's no stranger to SLC. He was the former spouse of our former youth ed director, Judy Guadalupe. He's a wonderful soul. He's truly an awakened being that walks this planet with a huge heart, with a beautifully awakened heart. And so he'll be with us to work on dancing with the beloved while in human form. And that is the beloved within and all the beloveds that we view outside of us. It's a way to heal what needs to be healed and celebrate that healing together. And so he will be with us on the 23rd for an all-day program, and Judy Guadalupe joins him after lunch for a segment of doing some light language healing. So it's sure to be a wonderful opportunity to gather with such a beautiful heart in a healing, full-day healing. So join us and sign up for that.
And also, I'm going to be facilitating a class entitled Truth Principles for Modern Living. And it's going to incorporate, with a new twist, the ideas that are in the classic book, Lessons in Truth, that will build upon those 5 principles that I mentioned, but also incorporate some of the teachings of the modern-day spiritual teachers, as well as science and tools and techniques to make those principles come alive in your life. It was really the foundational book that got me going in New Thought, and there's a lot of gems in there. And we're going to try to make it really nice. We're going to make it really exciting, workshop style. So I invite you to be part of that. Books will be available soon for Lessons in Truth.
Did you notice how lit up he got about that class? So one of the cue card qualities that James is here to be in 2019 is unleashed. And so what I know to be true, and I hear from a lot of people about when they take a class of yours, how amazing you are as a teacher in a small group. And just your humor and all of your wisdom come out, and then people get to see his socks really up close.
I got some with some neon in it right this morning. Neon orange.
So, Lessons in Truth socks.
Yes.
Yep. Join James for that Unleashed class.
Unleashed. Okay.
And then we have a really exciting presenter coming up, and so. We've heard of the second coming, and in April we have 2. We've got Easter, and we've got Gary Simmons, our church whisperer. And so Gary's going to be with us on the 5th of April for a community opportunity to get together, hear about where we are. You know, he's our coach in this mission-centric shifting, and he's going to give us an update on where we are in the process of shifting more toward a mission-centric community. So be sure to be here, bring your questions, and bring your answers to be questioned. So he's certainly an illumined, he's a presence for us. He really is, in more ways than you ever know. And he's such a great guy. So please be sure to register for this free gathering. And it's just not the same without you, because this community is who? Is you. So
you're it. You are the ones.
be here for that.
And also a reminder that today begins the acceptance of the applications for the vacancies on the Board of Trustees. We're doing our annual recruitment that starts today and ends on March the 31st. Application packets for the board are available at the board table in the courtyard, or you can also apply online. I think we have someone here in the second service that's going to be at that board table. I don't remember who it is. It was Rick at the first service. But,
It's Martha. Would you stand so people
Martha,
can
so you can
recognize
go
you?
see Martha, and she'll give you information. I'm sure be able to answer questions that you may have as well.
Wonderful. So I have a few amazing people to introduce you to. They are our ambassadors, our prayer chaplains, and our board of trustees. Would you please stand? All right. So the ambassadors wear the rainbow ribbon, and they are a symbol that they are a sunny location to come to answer your questions if you're new. And our prayer chaplains wear those beautiful white stoles, and they are here to hold this entire community in confidential sacred prayer. Whether you have a challenge or a celebration, please be sure to pray with them. They are in the back of the sanctuary after service and also across the breezeway. And then our board of trustees wear their name tag with an extra purple ribbon, and that's for wisdom, and that's for oversight. And if you have questions about this opportunity for picking up an application, because we've planted seeds and those seeds are germinating with all this rain and the sun that's coming. So March is a sweeping season for filling out those applications, because you have planted a seed and it is going to grow. Thank you.
Yes.
Board.
And also, normally at this time I ask for any first-timers, but one thing we forgot, our youth ed. So we have Janee to come forward to share a few things about youth ed. So, and I think she has a few friends with her as well. So welcome, Janee.
Sorry, I just got
and
talking
friends.
and I lost all track of time.
That's all right.
Our small but mighty group here, our powerful prayers. Good morning, everybody. I'm really excited to be stepping into my new role in youth ministry, even though I'm stepping into some pretty big shoes. Lori left a wonderful infrastructure in place, and we have a magnificent team. I'd like to introduce a couple of them to you today. We have Betsy here, and Mary, and all our lovely children. And we also have Corinne and Caitlin over against the wall, who, together we will continue to create a sacred space for our children to gather in and to learn more about the God of their being. So I'm grateful for every one of them. They really hold this thing together. In February, our theme was living in love. And we ended that theme last week with our annual Pet Day, where our kids brought their pets to church, and that was a lively experience. Fun for everyone. And this month, we're going to continue to march forth into the truth of our being. And we're going to be learning about the same things you're learning about here in Big Church. Today, we're talking about the power of prayer, and we're going to be talking about listening to that inner voice. And we're also going to be talking about the power of breath and how all of these things are available to us in any moment, no matter what's going on outside of ourselves, that we have this, or even within ourselves, that we have this power and presence available to us. So we're also going to be expressing ourselves creatively this month by creating prayer sticks and prayer malas and art, all as an outward symbol of this inward beauty that lives as each one of us. So the last Sunday of the month, Corinne and I, along with Michael and the teens, are supposed to be going to our leadership rally. It was snowed out last month, so we have no idea if we'll be going this month, but we're hopeful that we're going to do that at the end of March. And the last thing that I wanted to remind you about is our Feathers of Freedom Camp, which is happening in August. However, if you want to attend that with us this year, the early registration ends March 22nd. So somebody in the atrium could talk to you about that today, and the information is available to sign up online as well. So I mentioned at early service that I don't bring the gift of song with me. So I'm not going to be singing with y'all today, but just know that there's a song in my heart, and I'm so thrilled to be working with these beautiful children. So I thank you for your continued support of our youth. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you,
I
Janee.
think our children are so richly blessed.
Yes, they are.
And it was a good thing that you're the only one unleashed, that it wasn't the pets. But we really want to thank Shirley Brown for this beautiful floral arrangement today. So if you see her wandering around, be sure to thank her.
And I know Janee will have that song come out one day. I'm just seeing that happening. If you're here for the very first time, any first timers here this morning, if you just raise your hand real high, we have a special gift we're going to give to you in a few moments. In the meantime, I want you to know that you have an opportunity to connect with Spiritual Life Center. And as you raise your hands and receive your gift, which is a shell-lay, note that there is a note on the shell-lay. And the shell-lay say, we believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And there are many paths to the one God. And we're also handing out a card that you can fill out and turn in at the end of the service, or give it to the person at the board table, the welcome table, I should say, at the courtyard at the end of the service as well. So we thank you for your presence. So we have an opportunity not only to acknowledge our first timers, but also each other. So I just invite you to go to a person and say, you look marvelous, you are marvelous, glad you are here.
Invite you to stay standing and join us in singing our group song, Our Thoughts, Our Prayers. It's a little bit of some different lyrics today, same tune, some different chords, but you just sing what you know. Please join us. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. Becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers. Our thoughts are prayers. The tools that we create with. Our thoughts are prayers. Our thoughts are prayers. That spirit resonates with. That spirit resonates with. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of mindfulness, and know that God Stephen's gonna tell us. My words are prayer. My words are prayer. And I am always praying. My words are prayer. My words are prayer. I'm careful what I'm saying. Choose a higher consciousness, a state of mindfulness. I know that God is always there. I know that God is always there. I know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. And every thought becomes a prayer. Give yourselves a hand. And please be seated.
Now we are going to, as we have taken the practice up, speaking our shadow card, our cue card, our vision for ourselves, what we need compassion on each other for, and all those beautiful qualities of light, the reasons we have come to be. So let's speak those together now. Please have compassion for us when we are being not enough, distrusting, grieving, blaming, powerless, fearful, because this is who we have come here to be, inspired, in integrity, joy-filled, compassionate, unstoppable, generous, and transformational. And unleashed.
I like that one.
And now let's unfold all those beautiful qualities of shadow and light into our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now, in preparation for meditation, we will sing this beautiful chant together, In the Light.
I invite you to take a nice deep breath and settle into your chair. You are as God created you to be, in the light, in the love, and in all the glory. You are. You are. Please join us in singing. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory.
That's a nice one. As we move into this time of meditation, let's just breathe in that beautiful vibration. Music touches us deeply and lifts our souls. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In every moment, immersed in the light, in the love, in the glory of God. Breathe that in, deep into your belly. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling your body and your mind relaxing. With each breath, your whole body softening as your breath finds its natural rhythm. And as you breathe, bring your attention to your heart, your beautiful heart, and begin breathing through your heart. Breathing in and breathing out. With each breath, every cell of your being opening to receive this love of your Creator, of your God. It is through our bodies that we begin to sense what's already here, already fully present. Your body is truly the temple of the living God, where God and matter meet. It was Meister Eckhart who prayed the prayer, "Dear God, please remove from me all of my ideas about you and allow me to experience you fully." And that is our prayer, dear God. Remove all of our ideas of you, that we may experience you fully, right here, right now. In prayer, our awareness of God and our own divine potential expands. We wake up to the beauty that lives through us. In the love, in the light, in the glory, I am. You are the prayer that God prays. Your life is God's prayer. God expresses through you in unique and wondrous ways. There is no one else on earth exactly like you who loves the way that you do. God needs you to bless the world. God needs you to love this beautiful planet of ours. So as we move into the silence, we move deeper into the allness of God. You are the prayer that God prays. There is no one else on earth who loves exactly like you. Love recklessly. Thank you, God. So it is.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God.
When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God.
Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. my heart, go deeper, my heart, go deeper into my heart, God. Thank you.
Somebody said, woof. Thank you, Second Slice and John, so much for just bringing that energy to us this morning. You may have heard a statement that says that when you sing, you pray twice. I think they did it like 3 or 4 times this morning with the song that they brought. I was once told that prayer changes things. But over time, I began to realize that that's not totally accurate. Prayer changes people, and people change things. Because Spirit, God, this loving intelligence of the universe, can only do for us what we allow it to do through and as us. We are the vehicles, we are the instruments to make that change. I was asked one time, can you prove that prayer works? We all have anecdotal experience where it seems that prayer has made a difference in our life. But when I was asked that question, I thought about a medical doctor by the name of Larry Dossey. He's traditionally trained as a medical doctor, and he's written extensively about the power of prayer as well as the practice of medicine. And he reported in his book that came out a number of years ago, Healing Words, about the scientific evaluation of the role of prayer in actual healing. And he talked about a study that was done over a 10-month period of time. And there were 393 coronary patients in San Francisco, in a hospital there. And they were divided up into 2 groups. The groups were assigned kind of randomly by a computer. And either you were in a group that was prayed for by a bunch of home prayer individuals, or you were assigned to a group in which you were not prayed for. No prayer for you, as they were saying. And there was a random study, a random blind experiment. And the doctors didn't know about the experiment, the nurses didn't know about the experiment, the patients didn't know about the experiment. They didn't know about the group that was being prayed for. And the prayer groups were simply given the first names of the patients they were to pray for and a brief description of their condition. And each group had 5 to 7 people, and they prayed each and every day for their particular patients. And so here are the results of this double-blind study. It said the people that were prayed for, they were 5 times less likely to require antibiotics. They were 3 times less likely to develop a certain pulmonary issue that caused their lungs to be filled up with liquid and their heart not to pump properly. And it said that none of them required mechanical ventilation support, while the 12 of the unremembered group, the unprayed for group, required such support. Now, if you look back and just look at the results of that study, if this was a drug or a surgical procedure instead of prayer, it may have been declared a medical breakthrough. They'd have it marketing it, making all kinds of money. But hey, it's prayer, maybe it's fake experiment, who knows, they were thinking. But prayer does not necessarily become answered according to our preconceived ideas. As I was thinking about that, if they really were able to package prayer, it'd be very different from the pharmaceutical drugs that you see advertised on TV and the internet, and at the end, they have a long list of side effects that will happen to you if you take this drug, And by that time, you've forgotten what it's supposed to be curing because you're more concerned about what it's going to do to me than what it does to help me become healed. But prayers, are not necessarily answered according to our preconceived ideas. There was a politician that had this phrase. He said, there are certain things in life. There are the things that are known knowns. There are certain things that we know, and we know that we know them. And then he said there are known unknowns. There's some things that we don't know, but we know we don't know them. But then he looked at a third category. He called it the unknown unknown. There's some things that we don't know, and we don't know that we don't know them. And I think there's something about that in prayer because there's some aspect of it that we really cannot explain fully. There was another study that was done, a spendthrift, that found that when prayer was not directed to a specific outcome, but rather the people prayed, "Thy will be done," it was 2 to 4 times more effective than a specific prayer that may have been asking for. Thy will be done. So there's that unknown there. Often when this prayer is used, the byproduct was not only helping benefit the individual prayer, the person that was receiving the prayer, which I think it just ignites the remembrance of who they are, but it also benefited the greater community beyond what the prayers would have imagined. Anyway, those are just a couple of scientific examples of the efficacy, the effectiveness of prayer. And many, I'm sure, have their own stories about how prayer has worked for them. And when I was at Silent Unity, doing my internship there, and we prayed with people all over the world, we'd often get notes from people from everywhere about how it made a difference in their life. And I'm sure there are many stories here about how prayer has made a difference. There's something to this thing we call prayer. There's the modern-day mystic, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity. He said that prayer is the most accelerated mind action known. Because there's all kinds of technologies today making all kinds of breakthroughs that we take for granted. All kinds of electrical gadgets, from smartphones to what I call, the headless horsemen of tomorrow, driverless cars. I'm just imagining what that's going to be like, to get into a car and nobody's driving it, at least not physically. The folks that are coming along the way, 20 years from now, it'll just be old hat. Just like for the kids today, having a smartphone is a way of life. They know how to use those things so well. But arguably the greatest paradigm-shifting technology is prayer itself, because it reminds us of the presence that has the answer before we know the question. It reminds us of the love that really binds everything together. It reminds us of something that is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It is always helping us transform to be something more. And I think we must be keenly aware that right off the top here that when we're speaking about transformation, we're not talking about changing the presence of God. And sometimes we can't really describe what that means. And I always say that God is the loving intelligence that governs the entire universe. So we're not trying to change that. We're not trying to say, let me get the right words. If I just get the right affirmation, we might go to somebody and they had a prayer and we had a prayer that worked for us. Let's exchange prayers like baseball cards and see if they'll work for us. It's not about that. It's not about the right words. We don't have to try to get the God's attention. We're talking about using prayer to change ourselves. Thank God we don't have to change God, that we can't change God. I was thinking how chaotic things would be if everybody started praying. And all I'm trying to get God to do something. We live in an unstructured, chaotic universe if that were the case. We're here to get in alignment with what is. Sometimes it's important that our prayers are not answered. Sometimes we're grateful that the prayers have not been answered in our life. I don't know if you've ever had some prayers that you had and that came true, and then you had to pray twice as hard to get out of your life what you got into your life in that prayer. And you want to sing that country western song, "Thank God for Unanswered Prayer." I could have been with that person. I'm just thinking. You know, those were the times when our perception is so limited, when we thought we knew what we wanted. So when we pray, we're not trying to influence the presence. We're not trying to influence this something that governs the universe, this love presence. We're here to be influenced by it. Because there is a plan, there's a blueprint for ourselves, for our community, for our organizations, and ultimately for a world that's beyond imagination. I think the first tenet of prayer that we want to incorporate was stated by the master teacher, Jesus the Christ, when he said, pray believing that ye may have and you may receive. We got to pray believing. And I mentioned in the earlier service, Reverend Deborah, who had a micro class this past Wednesday on the circle of prayer. And in the notes, she noted that she was quoting someone that we all have dreams, we all have desires. In order for them to come true, we have to do 4 things. Number 1, we have to love the dream. We have to be captured by it. And number 2, we have to have faith in the dream. That means believe in it with every cell of our body temple, but also we have to have faith in ourselves. And then we have to have a plan to kind of get us going. And Jesus, when he was talking about pray believing, he was talking about the second and third ideas of faith in the plan, in the dream, faith in ourselves, where we believe more in what we don't see rather than what we do see. I kind of messed up the phrase this morning. I'm going to see if I can get it right now. I say it from time to time to remember what faith is. And it says, when you believe in more in what you don't see than what you do see, what you do see, you won't see. And what you don't see, you will see. You see. You see. You see. And so the master teachers talk about praying, believing that you may have it already, so that we can receive it, and we can accept it, we can demonstrate it, manifest it. In other words, we're here to stop and get a clean awareness that our starting point in life is that we already have it. The result is already done. You know, I always say that everything that we see in our world somehow already existed in the mind and the heart of the God presence. You know, what we see, the gadgets that we have today, whether it's electronics, the idea already existed. The idea when they first created cars, the idea already existed before that. But it was waiting for a consciousness, an awareness that was big enough, bold enough, courageous enough to be in alignment with it so it could be expressed through them. There was a time that I read about a group of healers who were surrounding a patient who had a huge tumor in her body. And they didn't perform any kind of surgery or anything like that. They just went around the person and they kind of put their hands on the individual and they just recited this phrase over and over again. And it was, already done. Already done. Already done. And after they did that for a number of hours, at the end of the time or at the end of the day, the tumor had completely disappeared. And somehow they brought the belief that the result, that the healing, that the cure was already there, and they just brought the energy for it to happen. I think it's interesting that when we go through our own turmoils in life that we might be walking through, we may not believe that it's already done. We may believe that we have to go get it, that we have to make it happen. Somebody's got my already done. Somebody's got my answer. Somebody's got something for me. The world owes me something from the outside. But we start out with an incorrect premise. And because of that incorrect premise, we have kind of like an emotional reaction to what we do not believe is possible. And then we begin to get more of that which we do not want. You know, energy flows where the attention goes. And we end up experiencing the very thing that we say we do not want. So we find ourselves kind of compensating for this and trying to overcome it by, you know, unconsciously on some level we're believing I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I'll never have enough. All I have is bad luck. If I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. And we begin to have those kind of talks with ourselves. But we just pray believing. So some people move through life not believing. But I think what we want to do is believe in the what. Get clear. What is it that we really want? What is our heart's desire? And the how often takes care of itself. We don't have to know every step along the way. We just set the direction, and Spirit provides the correction. It's almost like if you ever rode a bicycle and you had to go a long distance. You never hold the steering wheel with rigidity, because you wouldn't get there to your destination. Even if you're looking at it straight ahead, just holding. No, you have to make adjustments along the way. You have to turn a little left here, a little bit right here, until you get to the destination. And I think that's how the universe works for us, constantly adjusting our direction. And when we're caught by that energy, when we're in alignment with that, we begin to move through the world knowing it's complete, knowing it's done. It's already happened within us. And then we're compelled and directed to do the right thing at the right time because we have the feeling of the connectedness of the answer. I was with a minister friend of mine a number of years ago. It was a number of years ago. So I'm thinking about it because I can't even remember when it was. And we were in a city we had never been before where they had a conference. And somewhere along the way, we decided that we wanted to go to the downtown area to buy some gifts for, people that we knew. And my friend, he was very much in tune. He was driving. He didn't know, we didn't know how to get there. This was before GPS. Okay, so it was a while back. And we weren't asking any directions. But he had a connection to something, and eventually we got there. And I was wondering how he did that. But then this amazed me even more. We were walking around downtown, and he was on the phone just talking. And I'm walking with him. And then all of a sudden, he just stopped. And he said, "Oh, let's go in there." And so he turned and went into that store, and it had exactly what it was we were looking for. To this day, I have no idea how he did that. I have to keep asking him that. I have no idea. It must have been God himself. I don't know. But the whole idea, we have to have the feeling that it's already done, and we'll be directed to do what we're here to do. We'll be guided to do what needs to be done in the moment. We'll be looking through a book, and exactly what we'll need will open up on the page that we're looking at it. We'll be walking down the street, and they'll say to you, "Aren't you Reverend Trapp? I've been looking for you." Well, they won't say that about you unless you look like me. But but you get the idea what I'm talking about. When we know the what and have the feeling tone, it's already done, we're guided to do the right thing. And I think it starts when we have that inward glance. We hear this master teacher saying once again to go to the inner chamber and lock the door. Pray to God who is in secret, and God who is in secret, who sees in secret, will reward you openly. And when we begin to go through that process, something dynamic happens. We go to that still dynamic point within us. We go to that point where all the qualities of God already exist, all the answers already exist, and we begin to embody that. And it reshapes our life. And I always like to say that if we wake up in the morning, we're rearing to go, and we're not gotten still in the morning and make that part of our day. All we've done is just brought in our past knowings, our past knowledge, our past way of seeing things, and brought it into this moment, the same person we were yesterday. Maybe we spiced it up with a little potpourri of imagination, but we're still going out the same person. And so sometimes when, a person will get up out of bed, and they're already thinking about what they need to do today. I don't know if it ever happens to you. We have all these kind of gadgets that'll wake us up. Sometimes they're loud, sometimes they're soft, sometimes they're like oceans. And now I had this nightmare that after they woke you up, they had something to tell you, all the things you need to do today, here's your to-do list. And I'm saying, man, please let me put the covers back over my head. I can't deal with this. Or maybe we get in the habit of just pushing the alarm or keeping the alarm going as long as possible to avoid that morning exercise. And then we get to the last minute, we leap out and begin our day, but it just adds up the tension and produces shock to our system, and maybe our blood pressure begins to soar, and we stress our hormones, and we may feel awake, but we're just surviving. It's not a sign of true vigor. It won't last long because after a while, when you go into rush hour traffic, you'll be triggered again, creating more tensions. So we want to begin to go to that place where Charles Fillmore had said that all power has birth in the silence. All power has birth in the silence. Everything else is nothing more than evidence of a spent vibration. You know, the research has shown that from the moment that we get out of bed, our mind cues our body to match the physical, emotional, and demands of our day. And if we start with that silence, start with that quietness or our meditation, we'll start our day primed to have more calm energy, and we'll negotiate our day much more effectively. I think the point is to see the world as God sees it. From the high point of view, we must make that inward glance first. Praying in secret to experience that dynamic power that is always there, going to inside of the closet, as it says in that scripture. There used to be a time that a lot of people were staying in the closet, but not anymore. Everybody's coming out of the closet. Coming out of the closet. We want to unleash that something that's within us. But oftentimes we don't go to that quiet place until we have a crisis. I don't know if you've ever had that. You know, you try everything else the surface mind says you can do. We try this, we try that, and then we get so exhausted, we have no choice but just to give up, be quiet, get still, so we can get that guidance. We finally said, I have had enough. And all the time, this loving intelligence of the universe is saying, I've been here all along. I was waiting. You were late. You were late, but you're here. I got it for you. I think the challenge for us who are walking the spiritual path is to get to that point without the aid of a crisis and develop a strategy to stay there and allow this goodness to run the show. And that happens when we go within and lock the door, meaning we're not available to the external distractions of the world that somehow influence us. We get that inward glance and we connect with that living spirit in secret. You know, when you think about it, oftentimes we're moving through the world and we're trying to find our balance by leaning on something outside of us. We depend on things outside of us to make us feel okay. But in the first chapter of Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth, is entitled Bondage or Liberty Which? Do we want to have spiritual freedom? Or do we want to be in bondage to things outside of ourselves that change up on us at a moment's notice? We want to have that true power. We want our center of gravity to be connected to that true something that never changes. If we're there, we're not going to fall prey to the advertisements that say you're not enough, therefore you need to buy this. You need to get this. You need to be like this. They know how to take advantage of the weaknesses within us, but we're so steadfast by connecting to that unchanging something, we're not swayed by the outside. We just buy it because we want it, not because we need it, not because we need it to make us better. When we do that, we connect with real peace. Of course, part of that deep listening, that inward glance, requires, of course, that we do listen, because listening is undervalued, it's underappreciated, you know, it's unused, particularly when we ask to listen to that presence. Try to connect with that still small voice that may come to us in a feeling. It may not come to us in words, but we sense something that's guiding us. And then we may convert it into words, and what we're listening to, that's what we affirm. That's what we firm up in our awareness. As someone says, don't listen to what you're saying, not the surface mind is saying, but say what you're listening to. What are you listening to? Are you connecting to that dynamic still voice? I think as we practice this inward glance, we discover there are hidden powers and capabilities within us. You know, there's something in the Gospel of Thomas. It's one of those books that didn't get into the formal Bible. And there's a whole story just on how the Bible was put together and, you know, the perspectives that people had. That's more than I can do in a couple minutes. That's a whole class. But in the Gospel of Thomas, there's a phrase in there that says, if you bring out that which is within you, it will save you. But if you do not bring out that which is within you, it will destroy you. In fact, some versions say it will kill you. We'll become a swamp-like existence. We will not be able to fulfill that potential within us if we do not bring it out. There are faculties that are waiting to be birthed. Well, as I kind of head toward the end here this morning, the inward glance, that praying in secret, that we might be rewarded openly, is about being here and being transformed from within. That means that we must continuously grow and unfold, because that is the nature of the universe, evolving, growing, moving from one stage to the next. As I think about, the analogy of the chick in the egg, when it first starts developing, it's in the egg and it's happy. It's warm in there. It got all the food that it needs. It got the right size bathroom. And then it starts growing. And he said, oh no, I don't want this. It's getting tight in here. I don't have a big enough bathroom anymore. And then it realizes it has to begin to peck. It pecks the shell, and it comes out, and it realizes there was so much more waiting to be expressed. All the while, it was trying to stay too small. We discover that we have something within us, and we're glad that what we may have been praying for did not happen. I think the same thing happens in our life. Everything is within us. I think with this inward glance, we're here to reveal the divine idea that exists in the mind of God and why we have made this incarnation that is so needed in our world today. We can bring it out. And it doesn't matter when you were born, how you were born, who you were born to, how tall you are, what color you are, what kind of education you have, what lack of education you think you have. When you're in tune, when you're having that glance inward and you connect with this great presence of life and being, there is nothing that can hinder that which you've agreed upon to reveal who you are today. Prayer is a transforming technology. And there's whole many different ways that people can pray. In Unity, they have a 5-step prayer. They have a gratitude prayer. They have a silent prayer. There's all kinds of prayers. It doesn't matter what we call it. Our job is to call it forth as the activity of our awareness. This inward glance has power. It gives us our center of gravity within ourselves and allows us to move from God's glory to greater glory as a community, as a nation, as a world, to continue to grow into what has already been done in the mind of God. And what we're talking about is birthing the kind and just beloved community that's being called into expression by our beingness, by our willingness to walk in this peace, to be the peace and the love and the wholeness that we are looking for. And it all starts with the inward glance, being still, being guided. And then we take our hands off of it and see how this universe works through and as us. And we make the change by being the change. Peace and blessings to you this morning. And before we do our love offerings this morning, just to remember the next Sunday, I invite you to join Reverend Deborah Phillips for her first Sunday lesson, The Ultimate Selfie. And selfie is an acronym. And she'll tell you what that means next week. So you don't want to miss that. And so I invite you to prepare to get into that flow of giving and receiving and to take your gift, your love offering. And if you've already given, know that you are participating in an unalterable, unchanging principle that says whatever you give out begins to come back. And not only supports you, but supports this community to help the youth ministry, to our classes, our workshops, and people that we bring here, so that we can be the expressions of God that we're here to become and be. So with that awareness, let's take a moment Let's think about our offertory blessing, and let's say it together as if it's being said for the very first time as we take in each word. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
I see that all is just as it should be. I am safe, so are you, doing all the things God wants us to. In this place, I know I do have everything. God is good and dwells within. With each new breath, I begin again, sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by. Sitting in the presence of God, everything is simplified. One with the source and all supply. All my needs are satisfied when I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God. Love is a circle, always unbroken. You and I are one and the same. God is reality, and life is a game. Heaven is here now, living within me. God is love, and so am I. I'm looking spirit right in the eye when I am sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by. Sitting in the presence of God, everything is simplified. One with the source and all supply. All my needs are satisfied when I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God. So warm and safe here, moment by moment. Fully now, I feel the release. Life is expanding, I am flowing with peace. One with the light now. I know that I am a gift God is using me to express. Now I've got the feeling, oh, what a blessing when I am sitting in the presence of God, watching my sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God. Oh, sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by, sitting in the presence of God. Everything, absolutely everything is simplified. One with the source and no supply. All of my needs are satisfied when I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God. When I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God.
Wherever we are, we're always sitting in the presence of God. We just need to open up ourselves to it. Thanks so much for ending up with that wonderful song, prayer and song once again. And as we close out our service for today, remember that we're blessed and a blessing. There's something within us that is seeking to be expressed. And so we help others do so by blessing these tithes and offerings, knowing they're going to bless the givers as well as the receivers as we go forth multiplying, amplifying the good that is in us so we can anchor a little bit more of the good of the world in our lives. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Let us sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with
And now let us continue to deepen that vibration by